There's something magical about stained glass, the way it catches the light, casting little rainbows like whispers of colour on the floors. But traditional stained glass is, well, a bit of a faff. Glass cutters, soldering irons, lead piping, costly and a tad intimidating. So I had a thought. What if we could make something that looked like stained glass without the tools, the fuss or the price tag? And then came the experimenting. Oh, the experimenting. Armed with nothing but craft foam, a bottle of clear glue and admittedly a stubborn streak, I set out to create a faux stained glass painting on a budget. The metalwork? Laser cut panels from good old craft foam using a design from a stained glass hanging I made years ago. For the glass, I used simple acetate sheets coated in transparent craft glue. Once the foam was glued onto the acetate and sealed around the edges, I pressed the whole thing flat under a heavy weight to dry. First up, resin dyes, painted straight onto the glue. Pretty, but patchy. Second try, mixing resin dye into the glue. Better, but gloopy. Third, speed paints, painted onto the dry glue, which crackled. Fourth, speed paints mixed with glue. Although better, it too crackled in the end and was still not quite right. Even topping them off with extra glue didn't help. Just a lot of blobs and hope. Then I tried acrylics mixed with glue. Although the coverage was great, the panels dried opaque, not the look I was after. Finally, I turned to the humble food dye, and voila! Mixed with the glue, it was vibrant, transparent and easy to blend. It was a little on the bright side, but I figured with a bit of colour mixing I could tone it down. Just to be thorough, I tested fabric dye too, both dry and pre-mixed with water, bubbly, rubbery, and just no. Some panels even fell out of the frame. I thought about using resin instead, but past experiments told me resin and craft foam aren't always the best of friends, shrinking panels and sad saggy shapes. So we're stuck with the food dye and glue combo and tested some different tones. After a quick trial in the window, I noticed the panel started to curl in the sunshine. Solution? Seal it with UV resin once the painting was dry for strength and sunlight resilience. With that sorted, I designed a colourful landscape inspired by Pinterest scrolling. I laser cut my foam frame, splicing together two pieces because of course I didn't have a big enough sheet. When do I ever? Using my coloured template as a guide, I mixed up batches of dyed glue and filled each little panel like a stained glass paint by numbers. Blending colours was especially lovely for the water reflections. Once dry, I brushed UV resin over the top. And let the sun do the curing. The acetate sheet was peeled off cleanly, reusable for another project, and I sealed the back with more resin. of homemade rub and buff gave the foam its final finish. I trimmed it up, popped it in a frame, and now it lives in my hallway where it's been happily hanging for a couple of months. No fading, no curling, just catching the light and making me smile. I'd love to know what you think. Would you try your own faux stained glass? Got any other thrifty ideas for creating that dreamy stained glass look? Thanks ever so much for watching, and from us all here at Shire Meadow Studio, bye bye for now. See you next time.